I'm Britney Javens, and this is Karen Hilliard, and we're the Legacy team just doing this buyer seminar. And we wanted to introduce you to our amazing lender partner, Stanley with Onward Mortgage, and Jake, our amazing closing attorney with McMichael and Gray. So we'll let him start, and then Stanley will take over.
Hey guys, I'm Jake Kaplan, closing attorney with McMichael and Gray. I'm not going to say the joke that I said the first time, but I am going to be quick and just give a quick rundown of what I do and my firm does, which is McMichael and Gray. We are closing attorneys, which means that we, once you go under contract, are going to research your home. We're going to make sure you're getting good ownership in your property. We're going to look up the current owner. We're going to look up the property. We're going to look up and see if there's any mortgages, if there's an HOA, if there's anything that would prevent you from purchasing the home and becoming the full owner, subject to nothing other than the mortgage that you put in place, of course, with Stanley here. I want to say that it is an honor and a privilege to work with the Legacy team. They are amazing realtors. They go above and beyond for their clients. They just have a real way of connecting with all kinds of people and getting them into the homes that they desire, giving them the best possible outcome. So I just want to say how much I am a fan of the Legacy team and the work that they do. And with that being said, I will say, good luck with this amazing class with Stanley. I know she's got a lot of great things to tell you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We ready? So we have a couple friends and friends and friends. Yeah. All right. Let's get started. I'm gonna cover quite a bit. I'm gonna go fairly fast to get as much content as I can in. Again, my name is Stanley Caldwell. I'm with Onward. We are the inside lender for their office. So they see me often, whether they want to or not. I also have a team. This flips. I just did it. What?
Just now.
I practiced it. Did you mess me up over there?
I think after I clicked that, it might have been. Are you going to try now?
There we go. There we go. There's my team. Work with Thomas and Derek. First thing I want to talk about is just kind of misconceptions when buying a house. Everybody's bought a house, so they all have an opinion. Your parents, your friends, and if they haven't bought one, they know somebody who's bought one, and they're going to give an opinion as well. So it can be super overwhelming. Just know that the agent, me, the attorney, we all do this for a living, and we're going to tell you the facts and the truth. The other source that people get news from and things that scare them is the Facebook or newspapers or the news at 6 o'clock, and it's don't buy now, rates are high, and it freaks everybody out because they're trying to sell papers or news, right? But it's not true. It's just not. So just be sure and go to the professionals to get the correct and accurate information. We're going to go over just the realities of the market, talking about bad news and what's right and what's correct. We're going to go over just the steps A through Z on the process and what you need to look out for when you start being interested in buying a house. Okay, first fear that everybody gets afraid of is I can't afford the home. And I know that this is a really scary process. I know it's really scary, but we want to help you and we want to explain everything to you and answer all your questions. So you're not afraid, and I think it's just the unknown. It's a big deal. We know that, but we're gonna make it as simple and clear as possible. So you're not afraid to buy the house. We know renting is easy, no responsibility, but you're not building wealth, and that's what we really want to teach you about. People don't talk about that part of buying a house, but that's the biggest reason to buy a house. So just lean on us, and we're gonna do the math, and we're gonna do the numbers for you. So don't just assume for whatever reason you couldn't buy. Talk to me, talk to any lender, and have somebody run the figures for you to see if that's really a reality. And if, let me say this, hey, come on, how are you? Okay, Julie? Okay.
Welcome in. Thank you. What was your name? Mary. Nice to meet you.
So, we're gonna run the numbers, and, if you can't buy now, we're gonna tell you what you need to do to be able to buy in the future. And that could be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, right? So we're gonna help you develop a plan if you can't do it now to be able to do it in the future. I want to talk about the different loan programs, and you've probably heard these terms mentioned, and I just want to give you some insight and the main differences between those programs you may have heard of. So the traditional, normal, most used is conventional. That has more grants available than the other programs. Your score's gotta be a little better than other programs. It's 3% down minimum. And, the loan limit right now, the highest you can borrow on conventional is $802,000. The other main loan program that you hear about is FHA, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. And that used to be mentioned a lot more than conventional. It has 3.5% minimum program, and your credit can be a little worse, a little lower on FHA, and derogatory credit, like if you've had a bankruptcy or a foreclosure, it's a little more lenient on FHA. The other big factor and big positive on FHA is they allow the seller to pay more closing costs for you on your behalf. And when you meet with the agent and you find a house, they're gonna go over that option for you when you write an offer. So I don't wanna get too deep in the woods, but that's a big difference between FHA and conventional. And my job is to look at your application, which you would take online. I'll give you a link. It's about 15 minutes, not a big deal. I'm gonna coach you on what program fits best for you based off your income, your credit score, and your down payment. So we're gonna have that discussion. I'm gonna educate you more. The other two basic programs are VA, veteran, zero down is great. You've gotta be a veteran or widowed. And USDA is not used a whole lot. It's more agricultural, kind of the outskirts of metro cities. So it's a good program too with zero down. All right, what's another fear? I don't have the down payment. That's a big one. We all know that. But here's some options for you for down payment. Conventional, remember I talked about grants. There are 3,000 grants, 5,000, 8,000, even some banks, I won't even go there, but let me touch on it a little bit. Sometimes have to reinvest. So occasionally we'll have down payment programs. Georgia Dream is attached to FHA that I just talked about. They have grants available as well. You can borrow against your 401. You can get a gift. And of course you can save up some down payment, but 3%, 3.5%. I mean, it's not too big of a number that you can't get to that number. The other option, again, if you're a veteran, it's 0 and USDA is 0. The other cost that you need to look at when you are talking about money and where am I gonna get everything is closing cost and escrow. So closing cost is A to Z of getting the loan done. And escrows are setting up monies in an account to pay taxes and insurance. And I'm just giving you a big overview here, but the seller can pay those, on your behalf. So it can cut down your total monies that you need to bring to closing. But don't be afraid to just check into it, ask questions, because there's lots of ways to solve that down payment problem that you're concerned about. Okay, I mentioned grants, and I want to go into a little more deeper into that and why they've kind of really come up and be relevant on the conventional loans. So about a year ago, the government did a really hard push for first-time home buyers. And they created, which is called LLPA, lower limit price adjustments. And what that has done is made the conventional more easier to get. They've adjusted credit score levels on first-time home buyers. So it made conventional more popular than the FHA and another option for first-time home buyers. And they also said, let's do these grants. And this is where I talked about the 3,000, 5,000, and 8,000. So these just came available like a year ago for conventional. It's really hard to get grant money for that kind of loan. And they're mostly based off income. They're based off where you live now, which is odd. That's a really new program. That's $8,000. There's no income limit. You do have to be a first-time home buyer. And then the 5,000 is for income limits under 86,000, and you don't have to be a first-time home buyer on that program. So how do you find out if you qualify? You call a lender. Call me, and I'll run numbers for you. I'll do your application, and it will pop up if you're can qualify for these grants. But it's free money. You don't have to pay it back. Some grant money, like Georgia Dream, if you sell the house within 5 years, you have to pay it back. So that's why I love these. No obligation. It's your money. All right. Another question that we get a lot, and a concern is, I can't afford to buy a home because my credit isn't very good. So that's scary as well. Sometimes people think they have too much debt, or they've got a late payment and they're worried about that. They're worried that their score is too low and it's hopeless. But I want you to know, again, we're all here to help you. We want you to be successful, and don't be afraid. Nobody's judging. Do the application. Let me look at the credit, and we'll talk about it. If you're not ready now, I'm going to tell you what you need to do to get ready. And it's going to be simple. The other thing we can do immediately is we have a in-house department. It's free, and all they do is run algorithms on your credit report to see if they can get it up. It's called our credit enhancement department. And it's called our credit enhancement department, and they will run it to see what you could do to get your score up immediately. So we speed through the process. The credit bureaus take 30 days to update. So let's say you pay down a credit card, you're gonna have to wait 30 days for your score to change, but we can do it in a week. So it's pretty cool. And some of the items that may pop up that they say to do is pay down a credit card, interesting enough, authorized users on your account do not help your score. They hurt your score. Nobody believes that, but I promise you, it's true. If you're on anybody's account as an authorized user, get off on it. Don't be on there. Parent, I know a lot of parents put their kids on it. Not a good idea. Also, a large portion of credit scoring is called credit utilization. And that is if you have a credit card that the limit's $1,000 and you owe 200. So you have a lot of credit utilization. That means you have a lot of room in the credit card that's not used to the limit. So keep your balances low is the point. That will help your score go up. Also, there's levels. If it's $1,000 limit and you're 300 or below is what your balance is right now, that's your best case scenario. At 50% is your next best case. 70% or below is your third best case. Anything 70% or over. So if you owe more than $700 on the $1,000 limit, that's not good. You're going to get dinged, right? So high balances to limits is going to hurt you. Inquiries is not that bad. It's just not. That's not. I hear everybody worries about that. It's not a big factor in credit scoring. But again, let us look at it. I know it's scary, but again, we're wanting to help you, and we can tell you how to get it better. All right, next one, are you ready? So basically, this talks about credit score, credit, and things to avoid when you're just starting to think about buying. And this has happened a lot. So I'm going to read through what to avoid and that could really curb your capability to buy a house. So one of them is change jobs. Not a good plan. The main problem is if you're a W-2 and you change to an hourly job that's not set, that you're not guaranteed 40 hours, that's going to be a problem because we don't know how much you're making because your hours could vary. So some people do that and they think it's not a problem. It's a problem. Also going from a W-2 to a 1099 position, you're out. You've got to have at least 12 months on a tax return as a 1099 position. So if you're not sure, you want to change jobs, call your lender and ask a question. Buy a car, I've had that happen. After they've made application, they bought a car. So that's an added debt. That's going to be a problem if it affects your debt to income too high. If it moves up your debt too much, it could disqualify you. So try to keep your finances steady. Don't go making any wild purchases. Large deposits that we can't verify. I know some people say cash, they put it under the mattress. You can't just go put $3,000, $5,000 in the bank and tell me it was cash under your bed. I can't use it. I can't verify where it came from. So be sure and take care of that at least 2 months before making an application. So, because I'm going to ask for 2 months of bank statements, and whatever deposits are in those 2 months, we're going to ask where they came from of any significance, not, $100, but thousands. Yes, we're going to ask where those came from. Be sure and let us know exactly what's going on with other debt you may have. Like IRS plans don't show up on a credit report. So unless you tell us, we're not going to know up front, but we'll catch it. We're going to see a payment on your bank statement. So be forthcoming, because you don't want to go through the whole process and halfway through we find out a big mistake and you can't qualify and you might lose your earnest money. So just be forthcoming. Again, we want to help you buy the house. So Don't panic and not tell us everything. Oh, buy furniture, that's one too. Wait till after you close. All right, I'm blowing through this. No questions? Okay. No, we're good? Okay. Okay, here's the other comments that we get sometimes. And it's, I can't afford to buy my dream home. So there's a lot in this one. It's super important to get pre-approved, and there's another slide, we'll touch on that one, but one of the big reasons is you don't want to go looking at a house that you can't afford, that you love. You fall in love with this house, and then you go to the lender says you can't afford it. That's brutal, right? You don't want to do that. Go see the lender first, find out exactly what you can afford, and find out what your budget is. And we'll go over both of those numbers. But let's say you can't get your dream home now, just get into something that you can afford, that's not gonna make you not eat food, right? Just be really conscious of your budget and the other expenditures you have in your household, but get into the house because you're going to start building wealth. In a couple of years, you'll build some equity and then go buy the dream home. You probably have gotten some pay increases. So try not to just go blow out your first house and overextend yourself. It's okay that it's not the perfect house the first time, okay? We kind of talked about this a little bit, that we're all here to help you. You've got, we'll go over, I have another slide on this. Yeah, 2 over. So it takes a bunch of professionals to help a homeowner purchase the house. And there's no way for you to understand the whole process. You got to rely on the professionals to guide you through the process. I kind of relate it to my little script is that if I had to go get knee surgery, I would not know what to ask this doctor. There's just no way that I can do enough research beforehand to know what in the world he's doing to be able to say, wait, what are you cutting on now? I can't. So I have to rely on him and rely on a good referral that I got from a friend. And that's the same thing you do. You make sure you've got a really good agent, a good lender, a good attorney, right? A good inspector to help you. And that's what we're all here for. Buying seems way too complicated, and I'm probably making it more complicated. It's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It is. It's an extensive amount of information, but again, you've got to rely on your people. You have to, and they need to be good. And if you start working with an agent, not these two, because they know what they're doing, but you don't think they know what they're doing, go find somebody else. Same with a lender. We know what we're doing, years and years of experience, but there are some out there that don't know what they're doing and can lead you down a bad path. So make sure you're comfortable with who you're working with so they can explain it so it's not so complicated. All right. Here's what I was talking about with your team. Your agent, you're gonna spend the most time with your agent and literally physically spend time with them. Looking through houses, the consultations, them going over the contract with you. It's a lot. You're gonna be like really close to these people by the end of the transaction. my part of it is all on the phone for the most part. I see few people, maybe they can't use a computer and they'll come see me, but it's mostly, on the phone, sometimes Zoom, but I usually don't meet the homeowner until, what is it? But lots of conversations on the phone, a lot of communication with your agent, with your lender. And your agent is gonna refer you a home inspector. Now, you could ask friends, get a referral from them. They're gonna review the house and make sure it's in good shape. You'll get a full report, and, your agent might suggest you ask for some repairs. So they'll go over that in depth with you. Appraiser, that is who is part of our process. So we order the appraisal once you go under contract, because we want the value of the house you want to buy. We want to make sure it's worth what you're paying it, right? And you want to know that too. So they're going to do probably a 15-page legal process that they take pictures, they'll show you the comparables that they're getting, and they're gonna break down the details of the house that you're buying, square footage, size of the lot, is it on septic, is it water and sewer, is there easements? So a lot of information, you're required to get a copy of that, and you're gonna have a certain amount of time to get that done, and that's my job. Also have insurance agents. So you want to insure the house, right? Just in case it burns down or floods or whatever. So I can refer insurance agents. If you have renter's insurance now, you can use that same person, Allstate, State Farm, there's tons of them. But that's a requirement, and your lender will go into the details of what we need from the insurance agent. The attorney and title officer, that was Jake that talked before we got going, and he runs the title. He will be at closing going over the paperwork with you in detail that you have to sign. So very important in the whole process. Forgot the flip. Okay. We've heard this so much lately. I should wait until the market gets better. Okay. Not a good idea. So back to the news. I know it's saying rates are high, prices are high, it's not a good time. The election, prices are gonna fall. Here's what I'm gonna say to you. It's a great time to buy. It's a great time. The fall is where if people are listing, they kind of need to list. They need to move. So they're gonna be a little more negotiable. And you're gonna be able to get a better price on these houses. So I love buying in the fall. This is when I buy my personal stuff. I've purchased 3 homes in the last 5 years, and it's all been in the fall. Don't read the news and get afraid because that's what the news says, or that's what your mom says. It's not true. Ask a professional. It's really never a bad time to buy a house. If you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. If you're buying, you're building wealth, period. And I've got a slide, and I'm going to explain that a little more thoroughly. So talking about waiting and, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Just had the results of the election, but if you see the last 7 out of 8 elections, the values of homes have gone up. They have gone up. And that is going to continue to happen. Okay. All right. So buying is a big investment. But when I was talking about the wealth part, it builds equity. And equity, see, I could write on that board. Equity is the difference between what the home is worth and what you owe on it. Okay, what it's worth versus the balance of your mortgage. And the average appreciation, and the appreciation means that how much the value increases every year. Okay, and that number is conservatively runs 5 to 7% every year. So if you bought a $300,000 house and it appreciated 5%, that's $15,000 you just made in 12 months, right? So if you were renting and paying $2,000 a month, you just threw away $24,000 and didn't make the 15. That makes sense? So equity is a good thing. During 19 and 20 during COVID, 1 year was 17%. 17%. So if you owned during that period, you did really, really well. So this is when I talk about building wealth, that's the main thing I'm talking about is the appreciation, as well as when you pay the mortgage every month, some of it goes toward principal. So how much you borrowed, you're paying that down. So you owe less and the house raises in value. So that spread right there is equity, and that's how you build the wealth. There's tax benefits. Inflation proof. So, you know, rents go up all the time. You get a fixed rate and that's your mortgage payment for 30 years. You can also refinance when rates drop and get an even better rate and a lower payment. It talks about customization. So you can't really do a whole lot in an apartment, right? But you can paint, you can get a different colored carpet, you can plant a little garden in the backyard. You can let your dog out to go run around. People buy houses just for their dog. So it's a big plus to own versus renting. All right, what's the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification? Pre-qualification is just a kind of a fast and furious conversation of what you could afford based off a conversation we're having on the phone. And I can run some numbers and do an application. A pre-approval though is a more in-depth process. We're really looking at your financial documents. We're running numbers. We're having discussions. And that's kind of really your target. Pre-qualification doesn't do you a whole lot of good. Your agent wants a pre-approval letter, so they know for sure what price point to look for you in their FMLS systems. So you don't go look at something that you can't afford. All right, basic steps to buying the home. So you're gonna meet with your agent, right? And they're gonna do a buyer consultation with you. They're gonna go over lots of paperwork. I'm not gonna get too far into that, but that's gonna be your first step. Contract is one of the things they go over for sure. Lender pre-approval, talk to your lender. We put you through underwriting. Underwriters make the decision on your approval. You'll go start looking at houses with your agent. She's gonna pull up different parameters that you give them. So you can be really specific on what you want. Bedrooms, baths, what kind of yard, what school district, what city, how far is it from work? So they're gonna discuss with you all of those things to make sure you get what you want. Contract negotiations, consultations, your agents are gonna go over that with you as well. I'm gonna, in the process, be ordering appraisal title, And then we go to closing with Jake, who talked to us at the beginning, which is the attorney. This was this is our last page, and this is what I wanted to talk about again with wealth, and let you just visually see the differences. Like in 2019, the renter's wealth is the green, and a homeowner's is the blue. So you see the difference, right? 7,300 renter's wealth, 295,500 for a homeowner. And as the years went by, 2022 was even more, right? 10,400 versus almost 400,000. And then 2024, 10,000 versus over 400,000. So, I mean, visually, you have to see that, right? You have to see what that means, that trying to buy a house, get into a house is really important to your future and your wealth and your kids. So I'm telling everybody I know they need to buy a house. And even if they're right out of college, I think it's a great idea. You can even buy a duplex, put only 5% down, rent out the side of the duplex, and that payment, that renter can pay some of your mortgage. It can go towards your mortgage, and you can qualify using that rental income. It's a really cool, easy way to build wealth. You can also have a roommate that lives with you. Let them pay part of your mortgage. So lots of ways that you're probably not thinking about that we know about, the agents, lenders, to help you get into a house. That's it. Hope I didn't lose people. Did I go too fast?
I don't have any questions on here, but I think one question that had come up is, how long do you have to have your job as either a 1099 employee, or if you are hourly, or if you are W-2? Like, how long do you have to have a job?
Good question. So W-2, let's start with the easy one. W-2, if you're right out of college, you're good to go. You have a W-2 job, because that's a guaranteed income. If you are 1099, I need 1 full year of tax return as a 1099 person. And the difference in that is a W-2, the taxes are taken out. On a 1099, they're not taken out, and the government allows you to write off expenses with your job that you have. So they only use the adjusted gross income. So we need a history, because we don't know what that number is. So we need 12 months, and we need to see it on a tax return and look at your adjusted gross after. If you make 50,000, but you wrote off 30, then I only can use 20. And 1099 and hourly. So hourly, they really want 6 months if it's a variable hour. So you could be hourly and be guaranteed 40 hours a week. And if I get that in writing, I can use it immediately. That's like similar to W-2. I'll have to see the pay stubs though, and I gotta see they worked 40 hours and 40 hours, right? If it's variable, then I'm gonna say 6 months. I don't think there's a hard fast rule, but I know I've asked my underwriter that. They need a length of time to get an idea of what they're making. Because it could be 35 hours 1 week, 40 the next, 38, 49. So they gotta have a time frame to average. Does that help? Okay, good question. Yeah. Yep.
Is there anybody online that has questions for Stanley or for us at all? Before we go to our drawing in a few minutes?
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun, because we got $150 Amazon from Stanley.
Yeah.
Shopping, and $150 from Target from McMichael and Gray, which was Jake's team. So our lender and our attorney. So this is why we have such great partners. And I'll tell you also, we've had, Stanley's always done a great job, so we've never had any issues. It's really when we've had other lenders that we've had any issues. So it really proves to us that having a great lender is so important. Because they can make deals completely fall apart and you don't find out until right at closing. So, that's why we have her as a great partner. And the same with Jake, and he's helped with clients that I had, they somehow sent too much money. And I mean, they practically cried when he gave them a check back for thousands where they would have never known. And I'm like, well, this is why we have such great partners that will ensure that they're working for you and, your best interests. So, you have any questions, Ava, or you want us to just tell them? Thank you so much. Okay. And we want to tell you, thank you so much for attending. We're going to send this out also, so that way for anybody else that couldn't attend, this evening, then we want to make sure that we send it out. You can go back to it because I know it's such great information that Stanley gave us. And we just want to say thank you so much for trusting us and all of our partners. We, of course, love to work with you. We're so excited to be able to work with you. And if you have anybody you work with, friends, family, anything like that, we love referrals. We love to give you a gift for referral as well. So we just really appreciate you. And, you know, Stanley's here for questions if you have any. Otherwise, we're gonna give away the gift cards, I think.
I have the little raffle up, which I will screen record it and post on social media as well, so there will be proof that this really happened. So I will record it on my phone as well.
I've seen it like in a wheel.
Yeah, it'll be
okay.
like a little.
Yeah,
reel like
that's
this.
so cool.
All right, so we have everybody
Let me just
entered
make sure.
in, and we have added y'all's extra, for joining as well. So we're starting it for the first person.
You may have, you're recording it.
Yeah, it's great recording. It's giving us an ad first.
An Amazon ad, that's perfect, because then they can spend all their money. Do you want to, I guess we can do the first one as Amazon? Sure.
All right, running it.
Ryan, wow, we just closed their house like a week and a half ago. They haven't even moved in yet. It's like, I think it's right?
Yeah.
They're gonna love this. This is great. $150 Amazon, Ryan and Clotilda. We're so excited for y'all. Okay, now $150 for Target.
And they did use Jake. Which one was which? We should have done the opposite. Cause they.
Oh,
used
Jake, yeah, that's okay.
Okay, and then Kelly Grogan.
Oh, man, I'm actually under contract with her sister. This is great. If you use us, you win. That's so
Okay,
great.
right.
Yes, and Kelly Brogan, congrats. Maybe some Christmas money, $150. I'm so excited. And she gave me a referral to her sister who's been amazing. So, wow. I wish we could give away everybody $150.
Lots of money.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited for everybody. So we'll let them know. And then, we've got great gifts for you if you use us as well. At your closing, we have some amazing gifts. So we always try to give our clients the best gifts, things we love and things that you'll love at your home. So, yes.
And the same if you send us referrals, we'll
Yes.
obviously also get you an equivalent or greater than that gift. So if you're sad that you missed out, then send us a referral.
There are
Not too late.
other opportunities.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so
So
much.
thank you, Haley.
Yeah,
That's great.
I sped through that, so hopefully I didn't lose that.